just to wrap up this stuff on Trump's speech last night. This is actually we have a this is one of the more salient points from Trump's speech, in which he says, I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, which is actually pretty bizarre. Here he is.
We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on. We are not nation building again. We are killing terrorists. They are nothing but thugs and criminals and predators and, that's right, losers. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will.
Thugs and criminals and terrorists. Right. Sort of how George III described us at one point in time. The countries, people do not like to be occupied. And when you occupy a country over a long period of time, you stir up indigenous insurgencies, shall we say. But here, this is where it gets really interesting. Jeremy Bash was on Brian Williams' show last night. And he said, I think there's a real problem with not telling the American people how many troops you're deploying and all that kind of stuff. He says, after all, in Afghanistan, we're part of a 39-member NATO-led coalition. It's inconceivable that we will deploy troops there, tell the Afghan number the total of troops, tell 39 other nations the number and composition of our troops, but not tell the American people. That doesn't make much sense. So, it's just crazy talk on Trump's part. Basically, what he's saying is the same thing Nixon said, which is, give me a blank check and I will solve all your problems. This, by the way, the Washington Post, this is from the Fix. Trump's private deliberations, detailed in interviews with more than a dozen senior administration officials and outside allies, revealed a president unattached to any particular foreign policy doctrine. Now, when he was elected, people thought he was a non-interventionist. He was against stupid foreign wars. But apparently not. Apparently he doesn't care. To finish this sentence, revealed a president unattached to any particular foreign policy doctrine, but willing to be persuaded as long as he could be seen as a strong and decisive leader. McMaster tried to persuade Trump to recommit by presenting Trump with a black and white snapshot from 1972 of Afghan women in miniskirts walking through Kabul to show him that Western norms had existed before before and could return. Well, yeah, Western norms did exist in Afghanistan before we blew up the damn country. By the way, Kelly's, listening to that speech last night, I kept thinking a military man wrote this speech. And I think John Kelly probably wrote the speech, although, it's not typically the role of the chief of staff to be a speechwriter, but boy, did it sound like his voice. His son, the Second Lieutenant Robert M. Kelly, is 29 years old and was leading a platoon or a group of, platoon of Marines in 2010 in Afghanistan. Kelly's son, his 29-year-old son, stepped on a landmine and died in Afghanistan. So, one advisor called him the accelerator. This is from today's Washington Post. In other words, Kelly is like saying, they killed my son. We're gonna get revenge. I mean, is that what's going on here? It seems that is what is being implied. And meanwhile, in Barcelona, while our president and the talk show hosts on TV are saying, oh, we have to be afraid. We have to be really afraid. We have to occupy Afghanistan so that we can't have a group of people hatching schemes to do another 9/11 in the United States. As if Afghanistan is the only place in the world where people can get together and come up with an idea to attack the United States. I mean, that's how bizarre it is. What, we're supposed to literally occupy every single country in the world where there might be terrorists planning to strike us? You're gonna start with France and Germany? I mean, it's like, this is crazy. but good news about how the Europeans are responding to this kind of stuff. And it's going to be interesting to see what that, how that's going to lead to this 39-nation coalition in Afghanistan. So anyhow, Trump pulls a Nixon last night. We'll be right back.